Hey guys, so if you've not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and click that button. Let's get into this Love Island reunion, guys, because I got stuff to say, okay? I was underwhelmed. I was disappointed. I didn't think what I thought it was gonna be, and don't get me wrong, like, hear me out, because I was not looking for a mess, y'all. I was not looking for the brawls of Love and Hip Hop. I was not looking for bottles to be thrown like the house. I wasn't looking for any of these things, okay? I was looking for what Love Island sold me, okay? They sold me a show of transparency, rawness, unfilteredness, access. And then I felt like I got something so watered down. I mean, now granted, I know some of why they moved from CBS, it could be financial, could be a lot of things, but a big portion of it is what they wanted to be able to give that kind of raw show. Now, a lot of it, obviously, they wanted to be able to show more butts and play more explicit games and that, and I guess hear the F word a million times, but you give me all of this, then when it comes time for a reunion, I want you to give it to me equally as raw. And I felt like it was so controlled, and that was disappointing to me because, and just simple things. Y'all know how, if you've seen my videos, you know how I felt about that tweet with Sydney. It was so unnecessary. But what I will say, it was... Sorry, my cats are like kind of... It was supposed to be a connection to the real world and real perspective and whatever. Like, we're going to just show everything that's being said. So then give me that same energy when it comes time for the reunion. Where was it? I felt like it was completely different. I hated that Jeff was not there. Regardless of how anybody feels, I feel like he deserved to have a chance to really speak his truth. And, just to be heard out, because I don't feel like anybody can truly speak for you. They can try and attempt, but there's certain nuances, things that only you can give. And even if nothing else, if he wanted to give an apology in front of everybody or, whatever, like, I just wanted him to have the opportunity to really fully have closure on the show. And then just to see it play out a little bit different. And also, I think it's so unfair. And I get, like, sometimes you want to have, like, we're going to play the clip so they can see right away. But the clips that they gave were still it was still controlled. Now, y'all know I'm not a Chaz. Y'all know how I feel about Chaz with 2 Z's, okay? But what I will say is, now, the clips they gave for him were very true. Pulling out Gabby, very true. All these things were right. But you drugged Chaz and you showed all these things, and like these things of him lying and catching him kind of, granted, he was continuing to sit there and lie, and y'all called him out, I guess, or you allowed him to be called out. But I felt like when it came for Phoebe, it was still filtered clips and not fully giving what we saw as a public. And you could tell in the difference in reactions versus what, like when Courtney's like said, hey, I went home and I saw everything. So when Phoebe's like, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. And Courtney's like, okay, I saw everything. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you two, yeah, Chad and Phoebe, they're perfect. They're on the same level or whatever she said, y'all. Y'all know, whatever she said a lot with saying very little, and I agreed with the very little that she said because it said everything. But it gives that true perspective. When we look at Serenity and she's looking at Chaz, of course she's looking from her own experience, but she's also talking about what she saw. She had the opportunity to see, okay, like, let me see from my perspective. Let me see going forward. Okay, he's exactly who I thought he was. Yep, and this, and it showed. So when the other people are speaking, you can tell they haven't fully seen it. Even like just little things, like when Sydney was talking, and she didn't really go into the same speech she did before on the show, like when she was talking about Phoebe and the girl power. Girl, if she goes back and truly sees the show, Phoebe was not looking out for you, okay? And she will see that, so we would get a little bit more of that emotion, or just a true response. Because now, granted, obviously it's true from the perspective she has now, but let's watch the show so she can really see Phoebe was about Phoebe. Now, granted, that is the nature of the show, but I'm just saying, well, it's not truly just the nature of the show because you do have to build those relationships and connections, and America has to like you on some level, right? You can get only but so far. But, you know, we didn't get that with Bria and Zeta, which we obviously see if y'all been following Twitter. And I've been following a little bit, but as she's coming out, because the reunion was taped, you know, a few days before, now that she's coming out and she's seeing initially what Bria said, because I'm going to give Bria the benefit of the doubt. When she first came out, I think that, you know, you were hot because, again, at the reunion, everybody's playing it cute. Now, granted, Zeta did call out Timmy when he was trying to kind of like, you know, no, the reason that it went the way it went is because you showed interest. But however, when everyone kept saying, oh, you know, we ended on a good note, and that's not what it was given, okay? Because when she came out, she, at least online, she must have seemed a bit bitter or whichever, and said something to the effect like it was cheaper to keep her. And great, but on the interviews, I did think she carried herself well, and I think it came across nice. But obviously, that little nugget was put out there. And Zeta, now that Miss Zeta is out the villa and can really see and respond, she's just like, you know, what was her comment? It was something to the effect of, you know, I was nice to some birds. I should have been a little, I was too kind to some birds at the reunion. Like, and it could have went a little different, essentially. And so I want to see that. Like, when I sit there and I hear Val sitting there talking, like, well, I'm going to get into, first of all, I'm going to go back after Val sitting there talking about like how she wasn't given a fair chance and this and that, not enough time. But it's okay because I found love. Girl, you had a whole boyfriend. Now, again, whether this is true because the word on the street, that's what they say, is that Miss Val had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend was a reserve candidate to be on the show, and that the goal was for them to both come in there and try to win it all, because I guess that you would have a connection if you know somebody, right? But it's really like, girl, like, you're sitting there lying. Or even if she's not lying, people, like, again, if the whole idea of the show is to be raw and access at your fingertips to what we're saying, then these kind of things could have came up, or at the least somebody could have, you know, like just natural reactions. Because even if somebody didn't know, or they didn't believe the allegations or whichever of her having a boyfriend already going in, you know, like, these people are not stupid. Okay, and somebody would have said, oh, so you found somebody that quickly? Mm-hmm, okay. Like, right, okay. So those kind of things. But I was so sick of these girls, particularly, and I said this about, I think I said it about Val. Well, I didn't say it about Val, so I'm saying it about Val now. When it came to Phoebe, when it came to Naja, during just specifically their time on the show. Naja, obviously hers changed because she stayed longer, but so many of these young ladies, obviously, when we talk about Val and Bria, because I didn't bring Bria up, I don't know. And initially Phoebe too, I guess, but obviously like Phoebe and Naja have a different journey. But all of them really seem to struggle with the idea of rejection. Now, obviously, we could talk about Sydney City because everybody struggles with rejection. It sucks. Nobody wants to be rejected, and you certainly don't want to be rejected on TV. It can be embarrassing. It can make you feel uneasy. All these things. But and not just when we're coming on a show where the idea is to be on an island surrounded by beautiful people. Do we understand that people have types? Yes, and everybody might not think the same person's beautiful, whatever, and you know, personalities will come into play. But the whole idea is everybody's beautiful. So when we come in with that idea, everybody's coming from worlds where, you know, you're top notch, you are the stuff. And you're probably not used to being rejected all the time or in such a raw kind of manner, the way that Love Island kind of does. And so when it happens, it's like, you know, you almost can't, like, you are taken aback, like, me? Like what? And so that is what I think crippled several of these young ladies. Naja, we saw her cry over Isaiah, but obviously she caught those tears up, and she didn't, she didn't put herself in a hole. Same thing, whatever we want to say about Phoebe, same thing. She really liked Isaiah or was after him, and I don't think she could fathom, like, him choosing Sydney over her and like, I'm going to push and play. And then she got like, nope, because I'm going to play myself right up on out of here. Where Val and Bria, we sat and listened to them complain and talk about how, you know, feel like they were cheated and how they were not given a full chance. And if they knew, then they would have spent time. Like, girl, okay, first of all, both of you young ladies came in, and I'm always specific because obviously Phoebe, Naja didn't do the same, but Phoebe, you know, when you choose somebody who's in a couple, then you know you're risking the opportunity that you might not get picked. That's just a risk. And I think it's okay to take that risk, but you have to live. That's what risk is about, right? We have to be willing to live with the consequences and not make excuses, because this show in particularly, first of all, we never know when recoupling is going to be. We never know when it's going to be time to vote somebody off. So time is of the essence. And the whole idea is for people to explore. And if these people are exploring, in all fairness, who knows when they came to that conclusion? Who knows? You know, like it's different factors. They could have been indecisive. And unfortunately, the timing of when it came time of recoupling or came time to exit, it was just that time and you had to go. So it is some strategy that you have to put. Am I going to put all my eggs in one basket? Am I going to connect? Val certainly could have made the choice to, you know, give Felipe a little bit more time to do things a little bit differently, and she didn't. She chose to kind of put all her eggs in the Jesse basket, and then to scream it's unfair, or you were given the time that you had, and unfortunately for you, somebody had to go, and it was you. Bria, same thing. You like Timmy, and whatever I could see that, you know, how you could feel on some, well, no, I don't. Like, I mean, I get that he seemed interested, but at the same time, he was very clear. And I don't know, several challenges. Zeta, I want to be with Zeta. Now, you know, and I don't know if it was the sneak attacks that you thought, the licking of the face, and you just like, because this is going to get him, but those tricks didn't work. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying, like, whatever the reason, because some people infer, or has been inferred, that, you know, well, Timmy just was in it to win it. And I guess I'm assuming that's what the cheaper to keep her comment came from, that kind of thinking. And that very well can be true. I mean, it is a game and you do want to win. So, okay, whether it was that reason, whether he really liked Zeta and thought she was dynamic and wanted to see a little bit more where that went, whatever the reason was, he had the right to make that decision. And you could see it coming. I felt like you could see it coming. And then with the opportunity, and again, I know it was a small window, but we've seen people pivot. Like, shoot, Naja went from crying over Isaiah to like, okay, ooh, I better pivot this way. And she started talking to Jeff. Now, again, you know, we can go back and forth because people say all the time, like, whether some people think she was genuine with Jeff, whether you don't. But it was a smart move on her to pivot. Same thing with Phoebe. Okay, well, Isaiah doesn't want me, so I got to make a connection with you. Okay, oh, I really feel this connection. Okay, no, you don't feel it? Okay, oh, I really feel this connection. Okay, you don't feel, like, you know, so, but whatever, she was trying to stay on the show. Like, and I'm not saying you have to go around, you know, tension, sexual tension with everybody. Because even if I like Courtney too, but she did it. But you didn't even try. Like, you didn't even try. Jeff was even trying. He was trying to get at you a little bit. And, like, you were so caught up in your head with Timmy that you wouldn't even really give that the attention that it needed. And I feel like that could have been a completely different outcome for both you and Jeff. Because I feel like, culturally, I just feel like y'all were a little bit more matched. Even than him and Naja. But we've talked about that. Let me talk about my girl Serenity, okay? Serenity, I am so happy for her and Tyler. And I must say, because, and again, even when we talk about the rawness, like, you know, because I said it on one of my videos, and I had to come back and, you know, kind of take my foot out my mouth. Because it was the rumors going around, and again, we do all carry biases, but it's being aware and being able to call ourselves on our own stuff, because you can project things that you've seen and your issues on, you know, on how we look at the show. And so when I saw the little comments come out about from alleged friends, which Tyler has debunked and denied and said it is not true. That he would not date anybody ever that looked like Serenity. When you go and look at his, like if you check out his Instagram and just kind of look a little bit further, he has a very diverse group of people in his life well before Love Island. So he didn't go find a group of friends. So it shows that he is, open, at least, to all walks of life. So that was really nice to see, because it's just kind of, it gives you a perspective. So perspective, guys, when I'm talking about that rawness. And also just I have my issues with After the Island, because sometimes, and I don't even think, because some people I've seen say racism, and I think, again, we all sometimes come in with biases, but being able to look past those and challenge ourselves, and just sometimes there can be cultural differences. But I felt, and I've said this, I think I said this in my video when I was taking my foot out my mouth, is that Tyler in that interview specifically said, no matter how many ways, because they kept re-asking the question, like they just could not believe that he would be interested in Serenity. They asked it this way, that way, turned it upside down, flipped it, put it in a pan, put it in the oven, fried it. And it's just like, however you served it, he said he liked Serenity. To the point, he got to the point where he said, I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but Serenity's that girl, and like, you don't have to marry or whatever, but it showed, and they're having fun, and it's cute, and I like it, and I love that she was able to flaunt it in front of Chaz. I do, because regardless of whatever he says, and again, this one goes also to Serenity's personality, but when we're talking about it being raw, like, let's not sit on the bull that boy Chaz was not trying to embarrass Serenity, because that's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly why he gave that bull speech that he gave, with the intentions of embarrassing her. I would like to believe that maybe he changed his mind at the last minute, but yeah, given what I've seen of his personality, no. So we got Serenity and Tyler. That was cute. There's really not much to say about Joel and Bella, but it's cute. I'm glad that they found each other. I think it could work. But that poem it made me cringe. Like, I could have turned into silly putty sitting here, y'all. I was just like, oh. But hey, if it works for them, it's nice to feel good, guys. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I cover things. So, I'm trying to think. Oh, and I know this is a side note, because y'all got to work with me, because if you're going to go with me on these journeys of my, me discussing things, you got to be all over the place. You got to be willing to take this ride. Did Jesse look good, y'all? Did Jesse? I don't know who hooked up that lineup or whatever. Jesse looks so handsome. He looked like, I don't know. Like, y'all, Jesse really is growing on me. I don't care what y'all say, whatever. Like, I just want to hug Jesse. Like, even like, because I think he did look good as a man. But in a sense, also, I look at him like I just want to, oh, Jesse, he looks so cute. He looked good. I mean, like, everybody looked good, but but sometimes when you see people step it up, you just got to give them a little credit. So I want to give credit while we talking. But in talking about good looking people, y'all know how I feel about me some Jared, okay? Jared, I absolutely love. He is just a class act. He's such a gentleman, and he handles stuff the way it should be handled. Now, well, I say that, but I really didn't like the incident on the daybed, and I've spoke about that in that previous video. I did not like that situation where he said he wanted to have that space on the daybed to think and pick between Chauncey and Kat, and Kat ran and got in the bed anyway. I feel like that should have, something should have been said there, and just like I said, I want my space. But in the end, I like the way he carries himself, and it seemed like it was no love lost between everybody, and you want to be with somebody that elevates you. I was not a Kat fan. I really didn't like how she moved. Now, granted, as other people came in, as Phoebe came in, you start to change your perspective. Well, maybe Kat's not so bad, or maybe this person's not so bad. But yeah, like, you want to be with people that elevate you, that you both bring something to the table, and like when you're together, you shine. And for me, I did see that in Jared and Kat. Will they last? I don't know, but I do know that he seems to be, and just seeing some of his interviews too, he seems to be very honest, as is she. I mean, they're young. Well, I don't remember how old he is, but I certainly, like, she's 21, so, but I hope they have fun on the journey, guys. I really, really do. Courtney and Bryce reconnecting. I did not see that coming. But what I will say is, because I feel like Courtney is always, I mean, I know we joke her voice or whatever, which I like, yeah. Who am I to joke anybody's voice, okay? But I like it because I know that she is very honest. She is going to tell you what she feels, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, even if it's wrong. But her heart, everybody in the villa consistently spoke about how sweet she is, and it's showing some of her interviews after. So I believe that if Bryce is the guy she said, it's for a good reason. And I think, it's as far as they wanted to go. So I wish them well. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Chad and Phoebe, I just can't. But let's just get into what we've been waiting to get into, because Jeff was not there, so we really didn't get to see him speak on the situation. And I just have mixed feelings about this, guys. But as adults, because Naja has spoken her piece, and she has ultimately just on the show and on After the Island, I felt like she really was like standing up for how she felt a woman should be treated. And, this and this does not fly, these kind of incidents, this. And that is true. I agree with that. And I have no problem with that. And again, y'all know I always say multiple truths can exist in one space. So can you feel this way and still be willing to move on with the person and say, hey, maybe you've changed, because there is a lot of good. That can happen. But I will say still proceed with caution. And I say this to both of them, because you have to be aware of how you move, because it can affect so many people. And y'all know, and I hate to bring, but I do, as a mother of Black boys, as a mother, as a wife to a Black husband, so often there is a mislabeling, and it's hard to shake that once you've been labeled or called something, or it's been inferred. Because in some of her interviews, like the After Island interview, so if you guys have not watched it, I would definitely recommend taking the time to go watch it. She does talk about him being possessive, even going farther than what the incident that we saw, towards the end. Just kind of the possessive, the kind of volatile behavior, whichever, or just, with the anger. And these are all reasons to be genuinely concerned. I have no, I can't say, nah. But when you decide to go back, and when you say, because I think it was right after the reunion, or maybe during the reunion, she put something out there online. And first of all, her and Jeff are going to be at a club in Atlanta hosting a show. But even further than that, it seems like she's open to being back with him. And she's talking about, well, where is all this negative Jeff stuff coming from? Let's just end it and that. And I agree. It doesn't, nobody has to be attacked. I don't think you have to attack anybody. Again, I think it's one thing to call somebody to elevate to be better, but breaking somebody down, because you don't know where their tipping point is, their mental health. You don't know. Because people can put on a good, so I don't believe in that at all. But a lot of the negative things came from what was said, people thinking, and again, how they go about it, thinking that they're supporting what you're saying. When you say, I'm standing in this, and I'm standing up for women who, to show my baby sister, to show that this can't be tolerated. And then to go back further, she gave a lot of, because all we saw what we saw, and we didn't see a lot of the extra behind the scenes. We could have speculated, because Timmy did say something during that altercation, where, this was not maybe the first time, or but we didn't know. So when people are judging or making these negative things, it's really off of what you're saying. So when you, because again, like, and for just to put in perspective, if you have not, you have to take a time when you're driving to the store. If you don't have time to just sit down and listen to it, but listen to her after the island interview, and she really makes Jeff. And again, like, if what she's saying is true, some of that is problematic. So it makes it very problematic. And so that is where negative Jeff things are coming from. Now, what I will say for me, because we all have been there where we've, and maybe not on that level, okay, I'm just saying, but, you know, we have things where you have things that happen, but you still really care for that person, and you know that it is, I'm actually going through this with one of my dearest friends, but that's my friend, so I have, like, you know, I don't know, like, you know, you care about somebody, so you can look at it a little bit different, but you can still be biased, but, you know, okay, you see the full picture. But, so, you know, so when you know you're going back to somebody and you're putting something out there, then maybe you should walk it back, and not walk it back. And I don't mean walk it back and lie. That is not what I'm saying, because I've been preaching transparency. But you don't have to share everything, and you can still help them. You can, and I'm not saying for her to be a counselor to him or anything of the sorts, but still, like I said, this is not acceptable. This is, you know, because I don't want to say protect Jeff, but if you genuinely, because even like the things that I was upset about, like, y'all know, I really was like, I just do not, when he said F her stuff, I was done. I didn't like that at all. I mean, I still liked, and she said, like, there was still a lot of good things that I did like about Jeff, but I did not like that at all. But to her, she said that was completely okay. That wouldn't have been a deal breaker for her. So, you know, so for me, I just feel like a lot of the negative energy came from what was being put out there, and how it was being put out there. If you genuinely didn't have a problem with it, then that's one thing. And I guess maybe really emphasize stating it as that, because when you walk it back and act like you don't know where the negativity is coming from, that is where I got a little bit confused. And I just feel like if he was not as problematic as maybe she was making it seem, then that really is an issue, because it is so hard to shake labels, even when you prove them to be untrue. Even like with the Tiger Lily claims, I definitely think they should be investigated. If that is true, like, you know, you shouldn't investigate it, but I do not, you know, I'm not going to sit and call somebody guilty before I know, because we don't know. And we have seen so many times, for as often as we've seen women not really believe, we've also seen people be crucified to later come back and just realize that somebody was salty about a situation, and this person maybe was an easy target. So I just want to make sure that they both, as they move forward, including Jeff, on, you know, on what he says and how he carries himself, knowing to be aware of how you carry yourself and what can follow you, because you don't want this little snippet in time, because it's supposed to be awesome. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a time of taking advantage of endorsements and all these things, making a little bit extra money, you know. And you don't want to take it and it be a stain on your reputation of who you are, and it's something that follows you unnecessarily. So as young people, I definitely, you know, I love it. Go explore, you know, have fun, and, you know, love on each other, whether we think it's genuine or not, whether it's for the money. But, you know, just definitely, you know, be intentional about what you do and be mindful of what you say. And especially if this is somebody you want to be a partner, be intentional, and this goes for both of them, because we've also seen where Jeff has not represented Naja in a way, and not even just in that moment, but after, like, even after they went to the hideaway, because I think that was her issue as well. After they went to the hideaway, obviously something transpired. So when he got mad at her with the Timmy thing, well, you know, kind of inferring, like, why don't you go lay in his bed? Kind of like, you know, I smashed you, so whatever. Well, that's how I took it. So, you know, just being mindful of what we say about the people we want to be with. Because we don't want to, you know, we don't want that to be what they represented. But at the end of the day, we love. I love this season. I'm sad to see it go. I'm definitely having withdrawals. I feel like we are deserving of another reunion in a few months. Also, first of all, to see where people are. to see where it's going. And, just to see who's made it, who hasn't. And again, so we can really get the real. Zeta and Timmy, I really like them. I love them. It could be, like we've had couples in the past who, misled, or a person in the couple misled. And so maybe it feels like that, like, okay, like I'm getting a redo of that in some ways. And just Zeta and Timmy and their personalities, I really liked. I felt like Timmy was over being there last night. I don't know. Like, I think he was just overwhelmed because he wasn't giving what he normally gives. But again, that is where you have a strong couple where I feel like Zeta kind of helped pick up the pieces and really like just together. It's good, but I still would have liked to see more just from everybody, but I blame that on production. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm so ready to review more things, and I have more things coming soon, so make sure you click that button and subscribe. Let's talk about it. Y'all know I will talk about we don't all have to agree. I love talking about the uncomfortable. We can break it down. We don't all have to agree. I just ask that we always remain respectful. And tell me your perspectives. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you liked about the reunion. And I will get at you later soon. Peace, blessings, much love. Going into this weekend, y'all make sure y'all be safe, but enjoy yourselves. And I'll talk to you guys real soon.